also outside smoking a cigar. He didn't like making eye contact with me. I'll say that much. But
Just come on down if you're a fanboy and say hi to Timmy and Joe. Because they're outside just chilling.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hi to the Baron.
Well, you can say hi to us. If you can find what room of the bowels of Jeff Ruby we are in, you can come say hi to us.
Well, we got food coming, so we got to get this out of the way because we got some delicious food coming. So,
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to digest.
Yeah, so there's the adage, right? When you tie, it's like kissing your sister. I feel like it's even worse than that on this one.
never done that.
Well, I know you've not done it, but that's the adage, right? You've never heard that before.
No, I have not.
You went to Turkey?
Seriously?
Yeah,
You went to Turkey?
I'm not from the west side.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah. Get the jab in right there.
So let's go through it.
I mean, literally, we weren't even barely paying attention, right? 30 seconds in, and
The Tifa was still on top of you guys.
it was.
I was wondering if you guys were going to suffocate.
The
Right?
TPO was.
Yeah.
They put the one section down, and the other section was stuck. And our boy Margarita, happy birthday, buddy. Castillo's filling number 2 in the back of my jersey as well, with a strike to 30th second.
35th second, I think they said. Fastest goal in MLS this season.
And it's like, shit. Like, we haven't had that since USL. Like, just that feeling. Like, that's kind of what it felt like. Like, we got this. Like, this, okay, cool. Like, we've got 90 minutes. Let's do what we need to do. Obviously, we talked about this earlier this week with, like, Columbus's roster being depleted.
Felt pretty good.
It did.
It felt pretty good 1 minute in.
Damn good.
Place was going crazy.
Yeah.
We had all the momentum in the world.
I hugged the wife and did the normal, I'm not going to break your rib this time. She knows. Bertone. A couple of years ago.
Sometimes it squeezes
I squeezed pretty
We've
hard.
gone back to the Leo Bertoni days.
When that happened, I grabbed her and I did not let go. She said, "Ow."
Well, how about Lucho on that? Right? Lucho just kept that ball. He was holding it down the right side there, right in front of Bailey, right in front of section 114 where we sit. And he got around, I think it was Rumgor. How do you say his name?
Wormgor?
Yeah,
Wormgor, yeah.
By the way, if you could see it, the food is arriving right now. Thank you all. It's fantastic. Yeah, Lucho was fantastic on that assist. And to be able to cut the ball back and see it, that he couldn't just cross it in the melee and bodies fall all over the place. Maybe we'll talk about that in the ball review. But, then Castillo just ripped it, right?
He did.
Yeah, that was a hell of a hit, too. When you see a ball coming out like that, I'm waiting for it to go 30 yards out.
Right.
That's typically what happens.
He kept it low.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 bounces, nice little team, just strikes right through it, back of the net, place goes crazy. We're rolling. So we're stop the count at that point. Can we just stop the game at that point?
Can we stop the game? We'll talk about the food here for a second. We'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, man. I don't need to advertise the food. Everybody knows it's
But downtown, they got a couple of wonderful sushi rolls, and obviously Nate's got the strip here. So, but yeah, 35 seconds in, the atmosphere is incredible. We're all amped up. We think, okay, this is our game. They got a weaker roster. Yeah, there are still some good guys in that we'll talk about. But we're pressing, we're in the mood.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from the the national anthem to the fireworks going off, everything felt right.
Like I said, it felt USL-esque, like a little bit confident. And again, we're not used to that. We haven't had that in how long? USL?
Ever.
3 years?
Ever in MLS, so.
Maybe Portland at home. It's our first home match.
Sure.
It's like we didn't know any better.
Right.
So this is Andrew, by the way. Andrew is wonderful. He's a huge football soccer fan. In fact, if you're listening from California tonight and you're Peruvian,
You
you probably played with Andrew.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I mean, what was your best game that you ever played with Peruvian guys?
Christmas Sunday, we won the championship in the state of California.
That's money.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
We
come
played
on.
the Mexico 2 team. It was quite the ordeal.
And Andrew is here with us tonight. That's phenomenal. We need you tonight, Andrew. We could use you in the second half.
Oh, yes, I'm the number 1 fan. I should be at every game.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have done more than Franco.
He's got a great smile. It's so fun. That's awesome. So let's go. After the goal, we're up 1-0. Come on. Yeah.
I mean, the whole rest of the first half, we're controlling the game. We're dictating the tempo that we want to play.
Yeah.
We're moving the ball around. The place is going crazy. The upper left-hand corner is quiet, which is good. And yeah, it just feels good. Like there's no way we're going to lose this game. And then we get our second.
Yeah.
Then the second one comes, and it's even more like we cannot possibly lose this game. Right. And the second goal, again, just, tenacity in front of the goal, just being there. Lucho definitely, you can tell, mixed it up the whole game. There was a lot of chippiness in that first half. It kind of got a little disjointed at one point. Lots of fouls that didn't get called, that should have been called. It just felt like the ref lost a little bit of control. We can talk a little bit about the inconsistencies in the refereeing, but it doesn't take away from the fact that, at the end of the day, this is still going to end up as a tie, and we'll talk about breakdowns and the bad things about that. But yeah, we get that second one. The team is like on the front foot, stepping on their necks. This is exactly what we need to do, and we're feeling great.
And then obviously, who got the second yellow? It was Awful.
It's awful.
Awful got a second yellow.
Yep.
He's awful. You got a second.
Yeah.
Low hanging fruit.
I'm surprised Mets didn't get free in that first half.
It was sloppy, and it was on both sides, though. I mean, there was Hugo got a yellow, Cameron got a yellow, Garcia got a yellow. We're talking about the whole match, but that when you go, man, the opponent down 2-0 goes a man down. With
That game should be over.
with the atmosphere, at that point, you either go for the jugular or you bump, and we didn't either, right?
No.
You had no direction, and I know the haters are going to say somebody out, but we still got to draw.
So when Awful got his second yellow and he knew it, he didn't wait for the second yellow to be shown. He walked up.
Yeah, he knew it.
And Crybaby, Caleb was waiting for him with milk and cookies, right? So, but what did we got what? I think there was still. I'm trying to remember how much time left. But
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 or 15, I think it was the 34th minute. I could be wrong on that. Somebody will correct me. But, yeah, there was still a decent chunk left in the first half.
Plus 8 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, which was insane.
So they were actually with 10 men for over 53, 55 minutes. Right?
Yep.
Yep. So before half, though, there's a breakdown, right? Biasia goes in. He actually makes a nice tackle. He steps in nicely, and there's a little bit of there's contact, obviously. And contact, it was weird, as we've already talked about with the ref. Some of the contact was being called, some of the contact wasn't. Some contact was immediately yellow. Harsh contact, there's no yellow. Biasia steps in, there's contact. The ball comes free to Zaire out.
Everybody stops.
Everyone stops. Right?
Except for Lucas.
Except for Lucas.
Who just tagged him. And I mean, that shot, I don't know if that shot's getting saved either way. It's not. But the sad part is it just goes back to you should never concede a man up. You always talk about 2-0 is the worst sort of lead to have because you're overconfident, but then one goal swings all the momentum back. You never want to give up a goal going into halftime. I mean, we did everything that you should never do in that situation. Don't give up that goal under any circumstance.
Right.
There's no reason for that. No excuse for that.
Because what does that do? Giving them a goal before half.
And it gives them belief. It gives them hope.
Yeah, you go to the half 2-0, game's over. There's no hope. You come out with the approach like we're just going to counter, we'll just bunker, and we're man up, and we'll hit them on the break. If we need to switch the field to play, to where we have the strength, opposite side, and just do like the rest of the match, and if I get a third and you're 3-0 up and man down, game over. There's nothing. You get for possession, ball, you goof around, you have fun with it.
And the Bailey can dance.
Right?
There was no dancing.
It was for the first 25 minutes. Right?
Okay, Tommy.
Right.
Yeah,
So yeah, and then we get into halftime. We're going down. It's 2-1. I was pissed. I was pissed at halftime. I'm sick to my stomach because I've seen this movie before, and I'm like, I cannot believe that we gave that goal up. But you know what? We're still up a man. We're gonna come out. We're gonna be okay. And we came out, and I honestly I don't know what the talk was at halftime. I don't know what the ideas were coming out of the half, but whatever we were trying to do, we weren't doing it. And it just seemed like we gave up possession. It seemed like we were letting Columbus kind of hang out in our attacking third. Oh, we're just going to sit in behind them.
So we
and let them
invited them.
run
Right?
on
It was like
right.
an invitation. Come on
Exactly.
in. Right.
Let them dictate play. Like,
Yeah,
you
which
can't,
made no sense
you
whatsoever.
can't do that, man. Up, even if you're the lead, like you just have to. You have like, again. I said it before. Like you have to look at the jugular.
Yep.
Like at
Gotta
that
kill
point,
the
at
game.
that point, you have to kill the game. You have to get that third goal, get two up again, and deflate them, especially a man down. Then you bump and do whatever. But we just. I wouldn't say we looked lost, but we looked like we had lack of intention, right? We just lack of what we wanted to do, and
We look scared to lose, is what I would say. We look tentative in certain situations because the decisions we were making on the ball, once we got the ball, because we set back, it was very tentative.
I will agree with that. We were not decisive with the ball. It seemed like, again, we're up 2-1 at the time, a man up, but it seemed like no matter who got it, it had to go through Lucho to go someplace else. And we never bypassed him and just played the ball. Well, they play the ball into Zhao, who's making that run. Play the ball out to Atonga while he was still in, while he's making that run. And I think they knew, like, they're not going to split our lines. They're going to try to go through that midfield and let Lucho be the distributor of it. And he was, to his credit, he's back and forth, north and south, east, west. He's all over the place. But we became predictable, right? Crowd him out. Don't give him any space.
Yep.
They're not ever going to play. I said at one point, I turned to my daughter and I said, or my son, and I'm like, we've got to play a ball over the top. Just one time,
Put
we
him
just
behind,
got to
yeah,
play
put
a
him
ball
behind.
over the top. Because the wings were wide open. We were really good and effective when we were playing the ball wide. And we just decided we were just going to jump up the middle. And that was exactly, I think, what Columbus wanted us to do. Because they didn't have the players to play with the width. So, yeah, I think it played into their hands.
when you say scared to lose, like initially I disagree, but as soon as the subs were made, 100%.
Yeah.
Like any kind of just.
Well, that was before the second goal was given up.
true.
So,
That's fair. I mean, that's fair, but it was. I mean, it still kind of fits. Like when you bring in, Vasquez and then Kovacic,
but that's been the sub pattern.
that's the sub pattern.
Right.
But is it the right sub pattern, or is it a bigger issue with the roster and depth? Right. Like you don't have Bacadia right now. You don't have any. They push Brennan wide. Vasquez played the 9.
Yep.
Brennan went out to the left wing.
But
But like,
so even before that, though, right? They bring Stanko in for hitting it.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by that?
I don't mind that. I mean, Harris played a hell of a first half.
For Harris, that was
Yeah,
probably the
like
best
that
half.
dude's gonna be sore tomorrow. He
The
ran
best
a lot.
half I've seen him play.
Yeah.
He was like a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, he was good, but I'm like, no, this makes sense because you can sit back and absorb that pressure with Stanko, and we're still gonna hit him on the counter.
Yeah.
But then when he makes the second sub, which again the MO has been between the 60th and 70th minute, those two forwards are coming, or Barrio and Atonga are coming off, and we're going with Vasquez and Franco, and Vasquez brings you something. Usually it's shots over goal. Franco brings you nothing. And at that point, like,
Well, there was a couple things we had. Break a concrete wall. We talked about that.
now, yeah, he has
First touch.
Yeah, Franco's first touch is awful. For as long as he's been here, he should be practicing that instead of doing Instagram posts. But he's a team guy, so we all like him. But my point is, like, we don't have options, right? This was the game where if Locadia comes in as the holdup, that now we have an outlet. And now being that man up, it changes the game. Losing him and losing the quality and then replacing it with what we have, we're totally different. As good as we have become in the back because of our changes, we are worse up front.
Yeah, because you're missing Ja, you're missing that creative ability.
Yep.
I feel like we're just putting fresh lights on top.
Yeah.
For pressing.
Yep.
I feel like that's what we're doing.
And you can't like. And you could also argue that Vasquez and Kovacic, Franco, are a very similar type of player. I would rate Vasquez higher.
They're both at kind of
But
similar.
they're both a 9. They're at their best, the coachers. They're not going to really create for themselves. They don't have much hold-up play. I say Vasquez's hold-up play is better than Franco's.
Yep.
Um, But from that standpoint, like Franco is head down, straight line. Like he's not. Yeah, that's it. Like that's really it. And like that's the last thing we need right now. You need somebody that's gonna find the space, get to the space, play the ball off, get to the space, whatever you need in that regard. But it just after really the second half, I wouldn't say we looked lost, but just
There's got to be a plan to kill that game off.
yeah.
And there was no plan. And so, like, we've dealt a lot with being sort of contrarian to some of the other folks that just want to run Yop out of town and stuff. And I'm not an apologist for him. What I said is I want to be pragmatic. I want to allow him to let his plan sort of come to fruition. But there are serious questions that need to be asked after a game like this of what the hell is he doing? What was his idea? What was he possibly
What was the
thinking
talk at
of
halftime?
doing?
What was the
Right.
talk at halftime? We were very undisciplined in the second half.
Yeah,
We,
extremely.
just, we were very undisciplined. We just did not have a
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah. There was a way to kill that game off and still get that third goal and not get caught letting the ball go over the top and somebody getting behind us leaving them one-on-one with our keeper. Like that second goal should have never happened. You can play with depth. You can play a lower line. You don't have to play that high line that we always like to play. When you're protecting a lead, a man up, you don't have to put yourself in that
Are
spot.
you surprised when Stanko came in that we didn't go to a three center back? That we did not? Because he was actually playing center mid.
Yeah,
Hugo was still playing like
Yeah.
more of a lower mid, and Stanko was in the middle. And Nagby and Nagby and Zola Ryan were having a field day
Oh, they were
with that.
eating them up.
They were eating him up. And I like Stanko a lot. I think he's got the effort, but to have him in center mid and with Kubo behind him, Nagby and Zola Ryan are just too talented for this team.
Is some of that because of the pieces that you have sitting on the bench, and can you make that switch? And you're already going to take Barayal off. You're already going to take a Tonga out. So even if you go to that three center back set, who are your wings going to be? Who's going to be dropping in to come in?
I'll go one step further, and this is something we haven't talked about, but where the hell is Makocha? Right?
There's
There
We have to
have.
believe the ship sailed there.
But how does it sail so quickly, right? The end of last year, he looked like a good depth piece, a legit depth piece. And he plays both sides of the ball. He can do the hold up play. He can do what he needs to do. And like we've seen nothing from him even tonight, right?
he hasn't seen the pitch since when? Orlando or New York City? There's game 2 or game 3, right?
This year, maybe.
Second game, I think.
But like even tonight, like the guys are running sprints, and Haglund and John Blanks.
No, they're all out there. So you had all the subs out there after the game,
But
including the 3 that came in.
what I was gonna say is Makocha, like they're all like
They're warming up.
they're warming up, and Makocha he comes in trotting across the pitch.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? Like and again, I don't know the answer to that. I don't honestly practice. I don't know if there's something more going on. Is he usually injured? Is there something potentially?
I'm not sure he's fully recovered from what injury he had at Brentford. Yeah, he had
That's fair.
he had,
Jesus, I mean,
Achilles.
he had Achilles
if
injury.
you could have broken your back, you'd be back when this guy's been back.
Yeah, that's true.
But I
He
was
played last year. He played.
he did play fine, but there's something that's off. There's something off more than Stom doesn't want to put him on the field. I just feel like there's a physical thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the goals.
Yep.
The goals against mainly because we talked the first half about the goals we scored and Lucha had a beautiful assist and he got the goal. The second one, the 2 goals against. We talked about the one right before the half. Is that Vermeer's problem? Is he at fault for that goal?
Oh, I don't think the one before the half.
The one before the half. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
That was a bit. I
That's
don't.
not much.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of head bobs here. We all agree here.
I don't think he was. I mean, he might have been a little flat-footed, but Jesus, that's a hell of a save to get to that.
Well, the
That
ball was outside of the post and came back in.
Yep.
It was
There's not much you can do.
Yeah, I pretty much watched that ball go out 24 inches and come back in. Right? Like,
Well, I just mentioned that because Twitter has been active about that, and we'll get to the second goal.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of he was the one in the first goal. To me, it was more of
where was the rest of the defense?
where
It
was the
one tackle,
midfield?
right?
The midfield was not on his own right.
One tackle and everybody was standing.
The second goal. Second goal is over the top, right? They break the lines,
Yep.
and it was a beautiful. Who scored this? Who is this guy's name?
Oh no, I read it and I didn't recognize it.
It was the same way. I was
Was it
like,
the guy
who's
that
this
picked up? Was it the guy?
No,
no,
the guy that picked up, I'm like,
no.
who's Quickly or I don't know what his name is. But what a turn.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Viacia was like, he juked him, right? And so as soon as he jukes Viacia, he gets around the corner, he's in. So do you think Vermeer came out too quickly?
No. No way. No, that's as a keeper, your job is to come and close the angle. Your job is to come out, get big, close the angle. He just beat him on timing. He beat him before Kenny. I mean, he was in a good position. He put it right over his shoulder. Like that's where you want that ball to go.
Yeah, I feel like he came out too quickly. I don't know why. I just felt like
There was nothing between nobody. There was no help coming.
Yeah.
It was him and him. So if he stays on his line, all he's going to do is take one more touch and make that goal bigger, and then people are going to bitch and say, "Well, why did he stay on his line?" Like you have to come out and be big and make that save.
I looked up the guy's name is Miguel Berry. I have no idea who he is.
Miguel Berry, right?
Miguel
Here's to
Berry.
you, Miguel.
He's an awesome Berry.
Columbus legend.
But
Who is Miguel Berry?
But
Seriously.
the reality of this thing with this from like a player standpoint, like and in the heat of the moment, you can't think that fast. You can't. That's all instinct, right?
Yeah.
You come.
But if, to Steven's point, if Vermeer stays back and lets this guy, the youngster who knows who this guy is, again, we're asking a guy to think in a nanosecond time, maybe he gets scared, he's got too much time. We've seen Vasquez do it how many times this year? Right? Like, and then he makes his own mistake. By Vermeer coming out, I'm not blaming Vermeer, just the nature of the situation, but by him coming out, it was a win-win for the guy. Like he puts the ball onto the goal, cool. If he misses, like he's outside the box. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to be optimistic here. I don't blame Vermeer. I more blame the team. Like
Right? You
how
can't give that up.
do you
cannot
let that
give
happen,
up.
man up?
And Atonga needs to know just tackle that guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much of a chance he had to commit the foul there. He needs to know he's the last man back.
Yeah.
Like you got to do something there to throw that guy up. It's really
Tom or Viacia?
Or Viacia. I'm sorry, I said Atonga. Yeah, Viacia. But no, I don't blame Vermeer at all because you know he's aggressive by nature. He's going to come off that line quick. He's gonna make a decision. The guy just made a better decision.
Yeah.
He did what he was supposed to do. We had plenty of chances to kill that game off in the first half, and we weren't able to take advantage of it. If we get one more, it's done. So I mean, hats off to that guy. He finished it.
Miguel Berry.
Yeah, he finished it.
So let me ask you this question: did Caleb Porter outcoach Job today?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like they purposely came in to be rough, to be physical, to knock us off a little bit. Yeah, we're up 2-0, but they're still drawing fouls, not getting cards for whatever reason. You know,
Right.
They could have, again, they could have had 10 cards. We ended up with 6. They ended up with 3.
That's insane.
That's insane.
That doesn't.
There was
even-
2 penalties in the second half that were very easy. Like should have went the bar. We talked about it in the stands. They should have went the bar and they didn't. Like, they looked real quick, moved on. I think the first one was more of a foul than the second.
Yeah, the first one, I think.
I thought the first one was
where
legit.
where he
Yeah.
grabbed him
Grabbed.
when he was trying to run
Yeah,
by.
so,
Yeah, I had an English guy behind me who was telling his friend that I did not know anything because the bar it has to be clear and obvious, and no way bar is going to overturn it because it's not clear and obvious.
Oh.
And I was polite, and my wife with me, I didn't want to make an argument. So, but English guy telling the guy,
The American guy tells the Italian guy he doesn't do something. That's okay.
what are we talking about?
But yeah, it was. The refereeing was very inconsistent.
And this is one of the better MLS refs.
But as far as Stom being outcoached, yeah, I think you have to look at it and say this. This isn't a reason to kick him to the curb, but it's definitely another one to make you raise an eyebrow. Like, okay, we know that he's generally he's inexperienced as a coach compared to Caleb Porter, right? And he's inexperienced in the league as a coach compared to Caleb Porter. So he knows the buttons to push. We don't know this. We talk about him. We don't like him. We wish he was our coach, but we hate him when he's not.
Caleb Porter?
Yep, that's Caleb Porter. That's the way he's going to be. But yeah, Stom, like this, if this happens again, then I really get concerned. But this, yeah, I raise my eyebrow. This is not good enough. It's not good enough in any way, shape, or form.
Travis mentioned something on Twitter just kind of looking good. Like, what, 8 points in 4 matches?
I'll take the 8-4 for sure in a vacuum.
I get it. I get it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just, I don't know.
You can see the forest through the trees a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, that's okay.
So that's the perspective, right? The last 4 matches we had 8 points.
Yeah.
But at the tickle, we're still winless.
Worse than Melissa Home.
We are. We're the only team in MLS that has not had a win at home.
Oh, they played less games than everybody else.
But still, in 4 matches, we don't have a win at home.
Yeah.
Right? And on the road, we're what?
What are we on the road?
Good. We're good on the road.
Just say we're good. There you go. We're real good.
We're real good. Yeah. But is that a concern? Are we not? I mean, we got the crowd. I mean, we were near a sellout, maybe a sellout. It's disappointing to look over at these club seats and see them empty. But, okay, club fans, if you bought those tickets or you had a rollover, sit your butts in your seats.
Man, they're
I
up at the bar. They're eating the buffet
No.
and getting their
Come
drinks.
on. Did you see how many seats are empty there
Yeah.
at midfield?
A lot.
I mean, everything else is full. And right in midfield where the club sections are, there's empty blue seats.
Taylor doesn't show that.
No,
It's for a reason.
I think that'll change the next 2 years. Because as you have turnover, as you know, the trendiness wears off, and those that really want to be there fill in.
Yeah. But back to your point, and you brought up the Travis Ski post that. I think it is a big perspective. 8 points in the last 4 games. So
Well, I think
that is a win in itself, right? But
But
is
this
that
game
is
feels
that
like a loss.
okay? That's the part, right?
I was when we were up 2-0, I'm expecting 3-4 goals.
Yeah, we were.
Then we finished it off that way. The one thing I'll say, and this is like I can't judge Stompton as the roster like is complete.
True.
Like
That's fair.
whether he's not subbing on Frankie, he's not subbing on. I'm good. Thank you. He's not subbing on Frankie. He's not subbing on Stanko.
Right.
Franco Sanko.
You know, Vasquez is fine in the right setting, but like he has to have creators around him. We took basically 2 of the 3 creators away from him.
Yep.
So I don't know. Like, I can't judge him completely on that.
But what if when you brought Sanko in, we did go 3 at the back? And I would talk a little bit about this. So I want to go back to this. Because you could have had Vasquez and Brenner up top. I don't want to talk about Brenner.
And
So, but you could have those 2 at the top, right? You got to for Castillo and Jal. They both played. Okay. I thought Castillo had a great game.
He plays
I
well.
thought this guy has been amazing. Twice he's played, or 3 times he's played, and he's not cost us anything. In fact, tonight he was cleaning. He was helping us, right?
yeah.
All right, but if we had played 3 at the back, with Stocko as right center back, still with Jal and Castillo in the backs, okay, you still have Kubo and you got Acosta in the middle, and you got just Brenner and Vasquez trying to create havoc up top.
Yeah, I mean, that's rough, but I think that speaks to how we don't really have options against our starting 11. And we're even thinner now with our guys out. But going back to what you said, you know, about Stom, and, well, he has to, you know, don't judge him until it's the roster that he wants. I mean, Caleb Porter was missing 11 guys.
He's missing 11 guys.
11 guys, and
11 guys.
he got a result. So I think that just shows that, you know, there's growth that needs to be. We need to grow at the head coaching position as much as we need to grow on the roster. But we knew that there's going to be ups and downs with that, right?
Right.
He's not a seasoned coach. He's not a guy that you know. They're arguing. Well, why would you buy someone? Why would you bring someone in that has to have a certain system and stuff? Because he's just not developed enough as a coach. I don't want to get rid of him. I still want to see the way it plays
I'm
out.
still a Stallman guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still look at it as 8 points in 4 matches, which 3 weeks ago we would have said, hell yeah, let's sign me up.
Absolutely.
But you got to ask some questions after this one. This puts a little bit more doubt in the back of your mind of saying, is he the right guy? I'm not saying he's not, but this is a really step in the wrong direction.
But it goes back to those comments. Caleb Porter knows how to win or get a result in MLS. Bruce Arena knows how to win or get a result in MLS. Danny, I mean, you name it. All these guys, Schnetzer, he's on a league of his own right now, but that's the thing is like Caleb Porter knew he was out of 11 guys.
Leave Chris Arnold out of it.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Caleb Porter was down 11 guys, and well, one, it was a bizarre ending. All of a sudden, the whistle didn't blow. Everybody's standing in the field talking to each other, and the game's over.
Yeah, I didn't think 4 minutes was up.
It wasn't, but I mean, obviously they were happy to get the draw. It's like what they came to do.
They did. They accomplished their goal. But you said something that will hit on Brenner.
Yeah, I want to hit up Brett.
You said like you go 3 at the back. Not only going 3 at the back, we're going 3 at the back with them being a man down.
Right.
Like that change would have completely thrown them off the game. Like if
They still would have rolled the midfield.
that's fine. You got 3 at the back, and then like bring your wingbacks in and get compressed, right? You have essentially a 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit hard to go over the top for that second goal. I don't know. But like just looking at it from that aspect, make a change in your formation just to throw a Porter off and see how he reacts.
Force him to do something.
That's right. Yeah, force the team that's a man down.
That's the thing.
Yeah, right.
We let them dictate the second half.
Yeah, but you make one change and just when there's confusion, new assignments, whatever it is, especially from that, I don't know. It's all things you said. You know, kind of all the same opinion. I would say that like it's a draw, great getting the point, but it feels like a loss.
Yep. I agree.
Especially being 2-0 up at home with the ambiance and the atmosphere in the stadium. But I think we hit on Brenner and then call it a night.
Yeah. Well, one more comment that we had on Brenner's. I was listening to Extra Time Radio earlier today, and I had not actually listened to them a lot recently. But
Sorry, Levy.
yeah, I know. But it was Thursday's podcast, and they're talking about Toronto beating New England, and they had Charlie Davis was there, and then they got into the Seattle game. Seattle played Houston, right?
Yeah.
And the comment that was made is that every time Seattle goes out there on the pitch, they know they're going to win. And they're out, they're out their stars, with Arrow, the keeper, Stephon Fry, a couple other players that will, definitely Morris is out.
Yeah.
They got 4 guys, 4 starters that are out. Even with 4 starters out, Schmetzer are going to change the lineup at the beginning of the year, and they all know they're going to win.
Right.
And the comment that was made by Charlie Davis, it's not just the players, it's not the coaches, it's the whole front office. They know from 2014, 2015 on what it takes to win in MLS. And I feel like that's the difference between like Columbus Crew and us still, 10B, right?
Yep.
Up there.
It's mentality.
It's mentality. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's culture.
Yeah.
It's not mentality, it's culture. You create that culture where if you bring in the best, or somebody even thinks they're the best, they're gonna raise the colleague, whatever they do, whether it's ticket sales, whether it's marketing, whether you're in the broadcast box, the booth, or whatever it is, right? Right? Like you're gonna raise talent, challenges talent. And you always talk about competition on the pitch. Like the 11 that actually makes the squad. If you've got 2 potential starters in one position, they're going to push one another. And right now, we still, like, I don't know, I think right now we still kind of miss that. Granted, like, I don't want to be a downer, but like, this year's been so much better than the past 2. But we don't have anybody to push outside of the family's pitching, right? Push everybody else. Like, we just don't. It's right. The status quo. We've had a lot. I mean, it's a whole different subject. We've had a lot of turnover within ticket sales, within the front office, behind the scenes.
We have that.
A lot of names leave.
Yeah.
A lot of turnover. Like obviously Kevin Newman left.
And more left.
Anwar left. So a lot of guys will break the Toro.
Yeah, Will's sitting there at the DC United game wearing FC Cincinnati gear.
We've had a lot. Some of that's just great. Some of that's just guys growing up and then getting out of college and moving on next to their career. But there's been so much turnover from, like, honestly, some really good people that I had the opportunity to talk with, email with. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's a different issue. We've talked about, what's the root cause. But, that's a conversation for another time. We'll sit on Brenner and call tonight.
That sounds good. So, we're going to start?
God, shut the hell up with this fucking Brenner out, you wasted your money bullshit. Like we said, Adam and I were standing in the Bailey together, and like it is the final third of the opposition's Columbus's pitch, and Brenner's fucking back there pressing. Like name me another 9 in the league that does that shit, that actually cares that much. Like every game he has 2 or 3 moments like, there it is, there it is, there it is. Yeah, the end result, the goals haven't been there. Like, and I don't know. Like, there's people in this room that are 20 years old. I don't I don't expect them to have the awareness. Wife's close. No, I don't want to judge. Wife's close. But
Again, I'm the geezer in the room.
Um,
Adam's close, so I'm the geezer in the room.
the point being, the dude left the only country he has ever known, the only environment he
He's
is.
20 years
He
old.
is 20 years old.
Yeah, he moved to a country, doesn't speak that
But he
language.
costs so much money.
That's part of it. That's
Hey,
the
how much
game.
was that steak tonight? That cost
Dude,
what?
how much did Brighton play for Lacati?
Yeah.
A 26-year-old, 27, 25, 26-year-old who
Oh,
had Eredivisie experience and dominated there. Not Brazil,
Right.
but like on a bigger stage. I mean, shit. Like, you're at Chelsea. Timo Werner.
Oh, actually, Timo had a decent second half of the season, but let's say it.
You get decent second half of the season for
He didn't finish, but
it was supposed to be a world beater, right? And he played in the Bundesliga, which was a top tier league, and he's coming to the Premier League, which is the league. But like, yeah, there's pressure. So to judge a 20-year-old kid, 10 matches in, 12 matches in, who has actually looked damn good on the pitch, and to say we wasted our money, like you fucking wasted your money buying tickets, in my opinion. Like, Jesus. I'm sorry, but
The only thing I'll say about Brenner is I watch work rate and I watch body language, and both are spot on for what we're asking him to do. The results will come. Sure, we would all love everybody to score 4 goals every fucking game, and if we're gonna spend a bunch of money, we immediately think that money should equate to goals. But he does a lot of dirty work. He does some stuff. Again, it's not set up necessarily for him to succeed. You can argue whether or not it was a smart buy to make for FCC, or whether or not they need to get that second striker in there, that hold-up striker to play off of him. And maybe that's to come. Maybe that's part of the plan that just hasn't played out yet. That was a move before another move. But for right now,
Oh, we talking about chefs now?
well, a little bit. But right now, like, yeah, I want him to score, but we're not having a problem scoring necessarily. Like, we're putting we're putting goals
2 in open play tonight.
Right,
2 in open.
right.
That should win the game.
So we're playing fine, and he's a part of that. There was some nice interchange between him and Lucho.
Yeah.
So it'll come with him, but I look at work rate, I look at body language. The kid's going to be okay. He's young, he's learning. Chicharito sucked last year.
Vandy
That's-
got there. Vandy got there. Yeah.
That's
So-
all there is to it.
So the two things I'll say, I agree with you. His work rate is there. He is, he's not playing a target 9. He's not up there to receive the ball, hold the ball, or he came in every say, oh, he's a fox in the box. You're a fox in the box if there's somebody else next to you that you can help clean up and get that thing. His work rate is tremendous. His pressing is very, very good. He plays deeper than Lucha does. Most of the first half when we were in sync, he was actually playing deeper than Lucha. Lucha was a little further up. The one thing I will say about his game is he has got a slow wind-up and predictable wind-up.
Yeah.
And it's like you can see it coming and it's blocked every single time.
Yeah,
And that's the only thing that I would say is he's got to vary his mannerisms when he's going to shoot.
He's one touch to the right, wind up, and then
and
center
block.
back defender gets in the way of the block.
Right. That's the only. That's my biggest critique is that he's got to learn a different move, step over, cut to the left. I know he's not comfortable with his left.
something to
that's
get him
obvious.
off balance. Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
I'm a say this, and I don't know if it's just me. Is it just me? But why? And this isn't even FCC world, but why is the world so like the soccer world so afraid of the first time? Like one touch, defenders aren't set. Right? Like I don't care if you're set. Like you're probably gonna miss anyway. Just give it a fucking shot. I see it.
Have one. Have one.
Have one. Like
Yeah,
exactly.
Have a go.
Like,
And what
Have a go.
happens? It deflected a little bit, right?
Yeah,
It
but
was
the
deflection.
defenders have a chance to set
I
up.
think it was
I
on,
think
it
the
was on
goalie got a
goal.
hand on it.
Okay,
but it's-
But that's the thing. Have one because even if it's a ricochet or there's a
Nobody's
spill,
in position.
there's in position.
And that's I don't know. That's just something I've noticed with FCC and just other teams watching. Watching Europe, the Euros and Copa America and all that. It's just like first time.
Take a shot.
First
We-
time.
We don't play quick enough at times. And that is going to critique. People say we're not countering quick enough. We slow. There is I think there's a methodical implementation of what Stom is coaching on the training field. And so I think that's still clicking. I think there's a little bit too thinking at times.
I can accept that.
So let's talk about that mentality. Let's end it with the mentality. Actually, we have a question from the audience here. We've got a great audience here tonight. They're in person. In person.
We're
So
gonna
I
ask-
want,
We're gonna ask Ryan a question.
we're going to ask Ryan a question, exactly. But the mentality thing, how long do we give this club the rope to learn the mentality?
It's the end of this year. I mean, you've got a window coming up. You expect some players to come in, and again, I said in the beginning of the year, what did I want? 9th to 11th.
Yeah.
If I'm 9th to 11th, then they reached the goal that I wanted, and that gives them an off season to then be a playoff contender next year.
Yeah.
If they can somehow sniff that, I mean that was the baseline coming into this was, oh, we want to be competitive, we don't want to be outclassed, blah blah blah. We've got that part now. All of a sudden, we feel like we should be top 30 in the East. I just feel like we've had a little bit of space, although it's gotten tighter with Chicago and Toronto actually winning. But I still look at our running games
Montreal's
coming.
like 4th or 5th.
Right, but I still look at our running games coming up, and I feel good about our chances.
It's not.
So
It's not
I'm
like
good with it. But the end of the year,
We didn't play poorly, right? We had. There's always opportunities.
some dumb things.
But to that point, I don't know, like if we dominated, right? Like Carl and Aunt May are ecstatic, cool, we beat Columbus, front office is ecstatic. Maybe this is additional motivation, right? Maybe. I mean, we've got a summer window. Let's
Right.
I'm
Get the
with
man
you.
what he says he needs. Let's
I'm
go.
with you. Let's finish out the year and just go from there. That's all you do.
That's the way to end the podcast
That's
right
right.
there.
Is this the question for Ryan? Is he picking up the tab? Is that the question for Ryan?
Good luck.
Everyone can hear you, right?
Yeah. So the only thing I would add, guys, on from my side, I was sitting over in those clubs you say nobody was sitting in, and I'll defend you guys on this one. There, everybody was up in the damn bar. Everybody was outside, and it was 45 minutes to get a freaking beer because everybody and their mother was trying to order
That was
alcohol.
anyway, man. It's
But it was just no. I mean, like literally, I was standing there like one lady's trying to order 6 vodka and tonics, and I'm like, "Will you freaking move on? I just want a beer." But what I noticed was Stom kept trying to give instructions, and trying to manage the team from the sideline, and was not getting the response he wanted from certain players. I watched Joe very closely tonight. He was very timid in the second half on positioning. So I feel like instructions changed for him in the halftime, and he did not adjust well to it.
fair.
They also, I think, Columbus won the mental game.
Yes.
Absolutely.
They did not come out of that second half. I feel like their energy died in the locker room, and they were maybe too hyped up for the game in the beginning, and then it was kind of like that 45-minute peak and let down.
Where do we see that? I don't know, Nashville.
Yeah.
Right.
That's actually a really good analogy.
It's a theme that we see with this team that they're and I can even go back to the USL days and say we have traditionally been a one-half team, and I don't think it's the coaching. I don't think it's culture. I think that it's, and I've said this for a long time, we are missing that midfielder commander that we don't have. We do not have anybody in the midfield that can say, come on, pick us up. You saw Cameron try to do it a few times, but honestly, there's no one leading this team in all phases and being able to direct traffic well. And I think that changes it, because even when Stom's trying to direct from the sidelines, I don't remember one time he literally pointed at Joe and said, "Get up here and Barriel had to come over and cover for a play, and he turned to look at the bench to see who he had as options and put his hands up.
Right.
Because he's like, I don't have, what am I to do?
Yeah, like who's going to come in?
Yeah, and it's like, I'm going to turn to Flanagan, and I'm not saying the Flanagan's, but it's like,
No, you're right.
yeah.
That's the only option.
She's like,
Yeah.
he literally turned and looked, and I swear he looked at Flanagan, and he went, never mind. And just kind of turned around, and I went, okay. You know what I mean? Like, that didn't,
Did you see his reaction when Barrial got his yellow?
Yeah.
Barriel got fouled. He did get fouled. Wasn't called.
Yeah, and he came in for it. He knew he was hitting that yellow.
And so he
Wanted a
literally
piece.
came in, took a piece of you know what on it, and then
40
put the
rows
ball up in where the nosebleeds are, right? And he knew he was going to stop his pissed. He's like, get off the field.
Stomp
they
changed.
already had the sub, lined up, but he's like, get off the field.
Stomp changed the sub. He wasn't coming in for Barriel.
It wasn't.
No.
I did see him kind of point and say,
Changing.
Yeah, he was pissed.
So that was another thing too. Barriel was not supposed to come out there.
Well,
I mean, that's my view up from where I was sitting. 'Cause I mean, literally, my seats were, I was sitting right behind Caleb Porter. I was looking at Caleb Porter's back,
I'm
freaking
sorry.
balding head all day.
Yeah.
And but
Yeah. He's just a whiny,
and then I look over at Stom, and he's turned to Sod, and he's look at Sod, and he's like, I don't know what to do. And I think that's the big thing is, it's not, I cannot blame the coaching staff for the failures that have happened on the field because they're not on the field to play. And so when everybody's like Stom out or Brenner's not doing well or whatever, guys, you're not playing on this field. And you know what? I look at Brenner, like you said, going all the way back to the other 18 and covering a play because someone's out of position. And he just does it naturally. He doesn't even do it out of the...
And he's not throwing his hands up and complaining to somebody else. He just commits.
Yeah.
He's just committed to the cause.
And so,
He is a team player. He is.
I know there are people that hate on Kubo, but for being in a position that he is in, never played before, I look at his work rate he does and how well he's there. He may make bad decisions at times, but that's because he doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he's giving the positive effort. I'm on our Slack, I'm the one that kind of gripes about Kubo, but he is a positive influence and 100% heart.
So, but then it's like, again, you go look at it and you go, okay, well, who else is there? It's not Cruz. It's not Harris.
You don't want to bring Stanko in, right?
Yeah.
Stanko is...
Well, so he probably would have liked to get Kubo off the field with that soft yellow he received. Again,
Yeah.
it was a foul, but why does he get a yellow for it? But who's he going to bring in?
Yeah, it's just-
Right? I mean, I think now that's another thing. I know we're going a little bit longer now, too. But we've got 4 yellows in Stockholm. We have 4 yellows on Kubo. Each one of them, if they get one more, they're going to be out the next game. So we go to Montreal a week from today, or a week from tomorrow. So a week from tomorrow. And, by the way, not everyone's going to be able to travel to Montreal if they play in Montreal. If they play in Florida, 100% of the players will be there. Not everybody will be traveling to Montreal. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to get into that right now.
I think
It's going to be a mess. And we got 2 midfielders that are about to get their suspension, right? Whoa, we're not ready. Hold on. Yeah, we're going to give us about 5 minutes. Yeah. Ryan's still podcasting. He can't pay.
I'm sorry, Andrew. I apologize.
Yeah, we wanted
I
Ryan.
mean, it's really that. This we'll recap this more this week and just kind of talk through it. But there's at the end of the day, like giving up a chance, and PJ gave me a shit like this week on Twitter saying like you're pushing an agenda. No, I'm not pushing an agenda. I'm just trying to look at the glass half full and look at where this team was a year ago, 2 years ago, right?
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, and you know, right? You can have a short-term memory. In sports, you absolutely have to have a short-term memory, but I don't want to forget where I came from and what I dealt with before. And like, you know, if you take, I keep using baseball analogies because it's the sport I know so well, but if you've got a player hitting 250, right, for his entire career, now he's hitting 275, and you're bitching because he's not hitting 300, like, you're just bitching a bitch.
Yeah, it's a great point. Here we are. We go to the tickle, Hellersville, first time Hellersville, phenomenal atmosphere. 8 points in 4 matches. Yes, there's things that
Unbeaten.
unbeaten for that.
Well, look, this team has never said that in MLS.
So we do need to keep the perspective.
Yeah,
We are improved.
There is some good, but there is still plenty of things.
I think you get frustrated because you can see it being 10-4, right? 11-4, 12-4. Like Houston, that could have been a win. Colorado, like
A
that.
lot of points that have been just left out there.
Like, I'd rather have that than the pummeling of
5-0s.
5-0s, right? That we saw earlier this year as the team kind of started to come together. Or what other teams in this league just dealt with. And like we talked about it. And again, we keep getting long-winded and keep going on, but like, look at the teams that won this week that we just drew a beat.
Yeah.
Like
Colorado,
literally,
Toronto.
yeah. Like the teams that we just drew a beat, like went out and kicked the shit out of somebody else, and we humbled. I don't know. Again,
I think you guys need to end the podcast on this one question answered for everybody. I think it's a simple question of if it's not the coaching staff, it's not the players, then what is the fault and who do you point a finger at for this tonight?
I'll go first. It's part of cleaning up the mess. It's going to take time. It takes time.
I would agree with that. We are still at an infancy stage. We haven't even hit teenage level, teenage years for club. We are still in the, I would say the 4 to 8 year old. You know, if you're thinking about development of kids and how they grow, we're not hitting teenage years yet. And the people we're playing, on this cruise,
We had some bad parenting when we were infants. And we're paying for it now in our young adulthood.
We didn't have parents when we were
that's exactly it. Like we forget so quickly that we were back-to-back wooden spoons.
You don't fix that.
We broke how many records within the league that then we broke ourselves
Right.
No spoons here.
after the fact. Put that on head. After the fact, like I don't know. Like it's all perspective. It's a point blaming finger at one person. There is a root cause. Like you absolutely have a root cause. Without mentioning names, they share a similar name with their steakhouse. But without mentioning names, there is a root cause. But you learn, you adapt, you grow. Right? You have to crawl, walk, run, sprint.
So we're what? We're 11th? 12th in the league. We're 11th, right? 10 points per game. And we got some winnable games coming up potentially.
Yep, they're all winnable. They're all winnable. That's just
Again, but we're having some critiques about a team that's 11th and not 14. Yeah. And yes, we're not far out of 14, but we're on.
But we're not embarrassed either on the pitch.
And I will openly admit, when I walked out of the stadium tonight, I was very much. We left 3 points on the field,
We did.
and we did. But the more I've sat and thought about it, in kind of the perspective of it all, and my optimism comes back to me, I go and I look. You know what? If we do end up 9th, we're not that bad. Really, we only are 4 or 5 points away from being mid of the table in some ways. You know what I mean? So, can you complain about being a mid-table team that was the last team in the league for the last 2 years? No.
And that's the thing. Like, if you're ninth knowing that it was just a little bit better luck. You're 7th. You're 6th. It's not like you're 9th and you struggle to get there. You're 9th because you're not quite there yet.
The margins are thin.
Yes.
It's not like that.
Game answers. So I don't know.
So we want to thank Jeff Ruby again
Yep.
in the restaurant. And
Thanks for
Bill and
listening to
everybody.
us drone on.
Yeah, thank you for
Always.
all our support.
Anytime.
Thank you for everyone who just says hi during the games, and
Yeah.
it was great to see Tyler again in the team store, and thank all the guys that came at halftime. We just appreciate you guys listening to us.
Yep, and to our in-room audience, thank you for being so patient.
Love you.
It's already Saturday morning.
Roast.
Roast.
All right. Good night, guys.